What is going on, you guys? We are back with another video. It is yours truly, Culture Shock. We are here to talk about the Week 5 matchup between the Indianapolis Colts and the Jacksonville Jaguars. First time matching up this year. Should be a good one. Honestly, this is a tale of two teams in the AFC South still trying to show signs of life. And throughout this season, you got one team on a win streak, and then you got one team on a losing streak that just cannot seem to figure it out. The publicity, the media, everything is going crazy in Jacksonville. They don't know what to do moving forward. But the season is still early, and they have a chance to turn around their season after this game. They're going up against a formidable opponent, the Indianapolis Colts, who they always have a good record against, usually throughout the year. Most of the times they're playing them at the beginning of the season. And, honestly, when they're at home in Duval against the Colts, they pretty much have a good outing. But this is going to be a nasty game with the weather and everything conditioned moving forward. The Colts are missing a few players. Jonathan Taylor's on the brink of not playing pretty much. Anthony Richardson is still up in the air, and it might be a Joe Flacco game. It's going to be an interesting one, honestly. But looking at this game for the Jacksonville Jaguars, they just have been out of sync all year. Of course, they still have some type of bright spots on the both sides of the ball. Their defense can switch gears at any moment. Offensively, they still have Trevor Lawrence, who's been having a very bad year, honestly, but he still can put the ball in. He still has good placement on the footballs when it comes to certain targets. We've seen this before. We know this guy, even since his rookie season. We've seen good Trevor Lawrence's games, like good games from him. We have seen that, so you can't take away from it, honestly, because I know this season it doesn't look like a normal Trevor Lawrence gameplay. This team has taken a step back offensively. I would say the best part about them is on the defensive side, maybe, right? But they do have a young guy named Brian Thomas Jr. on the other side. You look at that matchup against this Colts defense, who is missing a lot of pieces in the secondary, but this defense has been putting pressure on opposing teams. This is going to be the most important game for the defensive line for the Indianapolis Colts. Because if they do not, and I repeat, if they do not put pressure on Trevor Lawrence, he can easily put up a 400-yard game. Despite everything we've seen in the recent 4 weeks, this game could change a lot, and the weather is going to be nasty. So, like I said, the defensive line, even though it's banged up, they got to put pressure on Trevor Lawrence because if they don't, they're going to be due for a long game. They really are. The run game has been invisible for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, the run defense for the Colts has taken a step up since week one, since week two, since the Green Bay game, I would say. Since the Green Bay game, the defense on the run defense has taken a step up. So that is, pretty much something that's probably going to be out of touch. I know Jacksonville's still going to try to force the run against the Colts, but the defensive line has been standing stout pretty well. So it's going to be interesting to see. One of the things I did think about going into this game is the defensive line, of course, but the impact of Latu. I think Latu can have himself a breakout game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Of course, we just mentioned the offensive line for the Jacksonville Jaguars not being at its best this year so far. And I think one of the guys like Latu can have himself a good game. Now, of course, Hurricane Dio has been jumping off the screen since he stepped on the field with the loss of DeForest Buckner. That's gonna be another guy they have to take a step on because when they look at the film, they're gonna have to try to contain Dio from getting to Lawrence. Now, of course, Dio's debut was against Trevor Lawrence, and he got that strip fumble at the end of the game. If you guys don't remember, go ahead and take a look back. Let's go rewind the clock a little bit. That was one of the big plays from Hurricane Dio when he first stepped on the scene. He wound up stripping Trevor Lawrence in Indianapolis. That was a game to remember. We were at home. So this is going to be a very dogfight game. A lot of people think this is a cursed game. Of course, they think the Jacksonville Jaguars cursed the Colts. That's why we can never beat them in Jacksonville. But I'm here to say it right now. I am very biased when it comes to the Colts. You guys know this. We beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, a team that usually gives us fits, right? Of course, we beat the Steelers in previous years. Okay, I agree. I get it, right? But hear me out. We just beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. We are on a win streak. You don't think this team's going to have that type of ammo going into this week, even though we are limited on both sides of the football? You don't think they know what's at stake? You don't think they want to smack Jacksonville and keep this win streak going? The Colts are on the good side of football right now. I don't think the Jacksonville Jaguars have enough ammo to defeat the Colts at home to end the win streak. I just don't. Now, of course, this is not taken away from Lawrence or Brian Thomas Jr. or that wide receiver room that can go crazy at any moment. Their tight end room can go crazy at any moment. We know that. I get it. We are missing pieces on defense, but I think the Colts defensive line will have another good week against this Jacksonville Jaguars team. I just do. I honestly do. I think this defense is going to try to keep our offense off the field, or they're going to put us in good position to score. I really do. Now let's transition to the offensive side. Jonathan Taylor might not play this week. We got my dog Trey Sermon. He might be running back one going into this week. Now, of course, a lot of people are worried about that because Jonathan Taylor has been having himself a heck of a year so far. And they're going to ask, what's the offense going to look like without Jonathan Taylor? I will tell you what it will look like. You're going to get some more passes. I think the Colts are going to go try to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars through the air. Now, of course, like I said, this Jaguars defense, it can put pressure on you. We know that. It can put pressure on the quarterback, but it can get dotted up as well. So, like I said, if it's Anthony Richardson, this is what the Colts fans want. They want Anthony Richardson to go out there and throw the football so he can get comfortable, get it up, get the game up under him. Get it to slow down for him as well. Change the pace, set the tone, get himself right in the pocket, hit his targets, and keep it moving. If it's Joe Flacco, this is playing into Joe Flacco's hands. Of course, he's starting this week. If he is starting this week, it's going to look a little different than him coming off the bench, right? So he got to start the tone early. But we cannot take away the run game. Last week, when Joe Flacco came in the game, they wanted to be pass heavy. They took the run game away, and it looked a little stale on offense. Now, of course, Joe Flacco was hitting his targets. He even got a tight end touchdown. So it might look a little sluggish if we do take the run game away. But I'm saying this. I don't think Trey Sermon's going to have a bad week against Jacksonville. I think Trey Sermon is going to get lost in the sauce and have himself a good game against Jacksonville. That's just my TED Talk. Thanks for coming. Now, when it comes to the quarterback play, like I said, if Anthony Richardson is playing, that's great. Awesome. I think he's going to have a good game if he's playing. He was on the breakout of having a good game last year when he played them. But if Joe Flacco is playing, this is great for the offense because he knows how to get the targets open and hitting them in stride and getting them loose. We've seen it with Josh Downs last week. We've seen it. We've seen Michael Pittman Jr. go crazy. Alec Pierce can have himself a good game. This is a game Alec Pierce can step on the scene against Jacksonville and have himself a good game. I think this will be an Alec Pierce game. I mentioned Trey Sermon, and I'm going to mention Alec Pierce. A lot of you might say A.D. Mitchell, but I think Alec Pierce can get it going against Jacksonville. The tight end room might get another touchdown this week. Now, who is it from? I would love it for it to be Will Mallory. I ain't going to lie. I would like for it to Will Mallory to go out there and start getting some reps. But I think for the tight end core, I think Marley Cox might get him a touchdown this week. I think he's going to get a touchdown this week. Bear with me. I know it might shock everybody, but I do think Marley Cox can hit the end zone this week, and it's going to be a good week for him. Like I said, the Colts are on a win streak. Jacksonville's still trying to figure it out. Can they change it? Can they change the season after this game and beat the Indianapolis Colts at home? Absolutely. I'm not knocking that. I think they can. But I think the Colts are hot right now, and I think the win streak is going to stay alive because the defense up front is going to put too much pressure on that offense. Now, Brian Thomas Jr. has to take advantage of our secondary. Now, of course, he probably will. He'll probably go off for 2 tuds, but I don't think it'll be enough for this Jaguars team to beat the Colts. Like I said, it's just going to be an interesting matchup. It's going to be a show. I don't think it's going to be high scoring at all. I think both defenses are going to ball out. Is it going to be a lot of turnovers? No, but it's going to be a lot of 4th and outs, I think, in my opinion. It's going to come down to the coaches and who game plans better going into this week with this weather going on. So it's going to be slippery. It's going to be muddy. I heard it's going to be rain. So it's going to be interesting to see how this Jacksonville team and this Colts team is going to go out there and play football. But the Colts history, they do have good conditioning when it comes to rain. Shout out to the San Francisco game. So like I said, I think this Colts and Jaguars game is going to be a good one. I don't think it's going to be high scoring, but I could see the Colts pulling it off. Hopefully the Jaguars Maybe they can figure it out this year, but maybe they're looking towards the draft as well. I mean, only time will tell. You can figure it out by week 7. I think the Jaguars fans will figure it out by week 7. But like I said, it's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be the battle of the trenches. The offensive line for the Colts have been balling out all year, so I think they're going to keep it going. But I do think the Colts defensive line is going to be too much pressure for the Jacksonville Jaguars, which could force the Indianapolis Colts to go out there and get a dub. So you guys let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Follow me on all platforms. This is Culture Shock. Until next time, I will see you guys. Peace.